Item 5.2, Vice President Craft Recognition. It's that time. Superintendent Tennis.
There we go. Thank you, President Walsh. I'm going to try not to get a little choked up. It was difficult to determine where to begin with this next recognition. There are so many stories to tell, so many actions to be thankful for. But tonight, we honor the work of Governing Board Vice President Margaret Pratt, who is completing her service with this meeting. Cabinet collected our thoughts and came up with a few words that we felt really exemplified Mrs. Pratt, Margaret's character and commitment to service. Honest. Margaret's actions and voice are centered in her passion for providing safe and welcoming learning environments in which children thrive. And her actions as a governing board member have followed those intentions in clear and unwavering ways. Genuine. Margaret is kind, supportive, and is always genuine in her words of support and encouragement. Kindness came up a lot when we talked about Margaret. Poise and heart. In the fact of great challenges, it takes a little poise and a whole lot of heart to do what is right for children while serving the community at large. Grace. She consistently maintains her composure and kindness in every situation. Considerate. Margaret is always thoughtful in recognizing the views and feelings of others. Kind. Margaret treats everyone with kindness and respect. Agree or disagree, staff, families, fellow board members, she is kind to all. Board Member Pratt, take us through. Oh, give us a moment. There we go. Board Member Pratt, have you paused to look at the list of all you have accomplished in Kyrene during your term? It would be impressive for any board member, but it is astounding when you consider half of your time on the board was interrupted by an unprecedented global pandemic. Here are a few of your key accomplishments. Restructuring and reallocation of resources in order to provide counselors for every school in Kyrene. Approval of a groundbreaking new teaching model that reimagined the learning space while simultaneously addressing upcoming challenges in staffing. Hiring a new superintendent. A little personal story that I will always remember about my first superintendent interview ever was I knew how committed of a board member Pratt was to this role. While during my interview process, I love the one word, and I think it says a lot, and I asked, it was my turn to ask questions, and I asked the board members their one word, and Board Member Pratt's word was contractions, because she did the interview on Zoom while the rest of us were in this room, while she was having contractions with her camera off, to participate in my interview process. So that is something that is very special to me, but really showed her commitment to this process and making sure she was part of it. Visiting every single Kyrene school, whether to read to children in a kindergarten class or congratulate them at their 8th grade promotion. Development and approval of the district's first ever policy on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Development and approval of the portrait of a Kyrene kid, the Kyrene Promise, key values, and other cornerstones of the new strategic plan, ensuring your positive impact on Kyrene will continue for years to come. This list by no means is exhaustive. Those are just the highlights. What an incredible difference you and your fellow board members have made. We have a small gift for you as a token of our appreciation. It took the creativity of students from every school in Kyrene to make this happen, but we hope you find this book of artwork will always remind you of your time in Kyrene. So on behalf of all of us here, wow, it's wonderful. And happy birthday.
So, board members, we have some special guests that are with us this evening who have submitted blue cards. Now, typically, we have a whole section on the agenda requesting to speak to the governing board. But given the momentous occasion, I'd like to invite anybody who would like to speak on item 5.2, which is Vice President Pratt's recognition. I'd like to invite them to actually come and make those remarks right now. So I think everybody that's been here knows how the Blue Cross card grant process works. But I will tell you, please come up to the podium when your name is called. You have 3 minutes to provide your comment to Member Pratt, and we will thank you for your statement. Our first public comment this evening is from Mr. Michael Myrick. He's indicated that he is a current Kyrene parent. I know this to be true. Indicates that he's a community member that lives in the district. That's also true. I also know he happens to be our former Kyrene Governing Board President. So, Mr. Myrick, please come up to the podium.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Thank you. Margaret, first and foremost, I want to say happy birthday. I'm December of '82, so we showed up. The superintendent mentioned there were no superstar students, but you are a superstar board member. I had the privilege of working with you for 2 years, along with Kevin and Michelle for 4 years, and it was an honor and a privilege to serve on the board with you. You had great ideas when we did our strategic plan. You were very thoughtful in implementing that. And our Spark School of the Future, I know you got a lot of input on that. So with that, I know that as this chapter of your life comes to an end, I can tell you what I've done for the last 2 years, which is I've not been to a Kyrene school board meeting. I've not even watched one online. This is the first meeting I've been to in 2 years. Occasionally you might drive by on a Tuesday night and see the parking lot full, and just know you can go home and watch reality TV, whatever you want. No, I think in all seriousness, it's good to still be engaged. Obviously, I'm sure your family will welcome you back with open arms on Tuesday. And thank you again for serving your community, serving this board. You've done a fantastic job, and wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Myrick. Our next speaker will be Ms. Christina Ochoa, who is a Kyrene parent and a current Kyrene employee. Ms. Ochoa will be followed by Delia Lang.
Good evening, I'm Christina Ochoa, community member, proud parent of a Kyrene kid, academic behavioral specialist at the Kyrene Middle School. I just wanted to take a minute. I haven't had a lot of opportunity to interact with you personally, but I just want you to know that your actions speak volumes. It is apparent that you are definitely pro-student. You've always done what was in the best interest of our students, and you've always been there to support us as teachers and leaders. And I hope you know that that means volumes to me, to anybody who's sitting here, and to all of us that work in the district. So happy birthday. I hope you enjoy every single minute you have with those daughters that you have, because it's going to go fast. But thank you so much for your service and your dedication to us.
Thank you, Ms. Ochoa. The next speaker will be Delia Lighting, who's indicated that she is a Kyrene current employee. Ms. Lighting will be followed by Kevin Am.
Good evening, board members. My name is Delia Lighting, and I am currently teaching for Kyrene at Kyrene and Lomas as an academic interventionist. Margaret, it's very hard for me to think about you and not come up with the word heart. I know it was up on your chart, and when I think of you, I think of a leader who leads with your heart, but that leads you to search for understanding. So if you're not getting something, if you don't see something, you always went for answers. And I don't know if you remember this, but one of the very first interactions you and I had was during the Tanamount Red for Ed walkout that we participated in, and you came to a gathering that teachers were having and invited some board members to talk to us. And you came out and you could clearly see that you were there for answers, but you were listening with your heart, and you had asked me a question, and you had said, what was it like today? And it wasn't just lip service. You wanted to know our story. And so you opened up the dialogue. We sat, we chatted, other teachers joined in, and it was clear to me then that Kyrene had a leader with heart who wanted to know what was going on for our students in our classrooms all across Arizona. For that, I thank you so much, and I thank you for all of the things that you've done since for our Kyrene community. So thank you so much. We are truly going to miss you, but I'm hoping all of the best for you.
Thank you, Ms. Lighting. Our next speaker is Mr. Kevin Anway, who is a current Kyrene employee. He will be followed by Justin Jensen.
Good evening, President Walsh, Superintendent Teniers, members of the board. My name is Kevin Anway, and I'm the teacher executive designer at Benitez Innovation Academy. And I just wanted to tell you, Margaret, the first time we met, you were at a campaign event, and you came over and stood by me. You're like, I'm really nervous. And we stood and chatted, and you told me the story about your dad and being in your dad's classroom and what the impact that had on you. And that had an impact on me. I knew right away, she gets it. She's here for the kids, here for this school district. And I was a fan right from that point on. I just want to thank you for the time that you've given to Kyrene. I want to thank your family for the time that they've shared you with us, because you were the right person at the right time. And Kyrene was lucky to have you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anway. Our final speaker this evening for item 5.2 is Mr. Justin Jensen, who's indicated that he is a current Kyrene parent as well as a Kyrene employee and community member.
I do have all. Yep, there we go. I do have all three of those roles. Kevin kind of took what I was going to talk about. Margaret and I talked quite a bit about the right person at the right place. At the right time. And you were there. All of our conversations, your decision making was with the lens of what's best for the kids. As a parent, yeah, that means more than I can say, more than teacher hat, more than community member. Yeah, thank you for everything you gave. I know it was a very difficult, unprecedented time in education, and you did more, along with everyone else on board, than we could have imagined. Thank you.
And our, we do have some additional blue cards that may have been submitted that I missed. Our next speaker will be Ms. Bernadette Coggins. Ms. Bernadette Coggins has indicated that she's a current Kyrene parent, a current Kyrene community member, and also a former board member. She will be joined by Ms. Anish Kurjan, who is also a Kyrene community member, a former Kyrene parent, Kyrene grandparent, if I remember correctly, and both happen to be former Kyrene board members.
Thank you so much. We so quickly forget the rules around here. So first off, I just want to, first let me start. I remember when I had decided that 8 years was enough and it was time to pass the baton, but it was really about finding someone who was going to put students first, who was going to let the noise stay away and always stay focused, which I learned from Ani. And so we are now the fairy godmothers. Just so you know, I have a Christmas ornament on my tree that I'm not sure quite who or where it came from, but it was the board member, fairy godmothers, that was given to us. But it was about finding that right person, and Margaret was brought to our attention. And so it was about having that first meeting. Margaret, we will coach, we will help, we will do whatever we can. Convinced Murray, said, oh, it's not that much work. It's not that much work. But I knew that Margaret was going to be like some of us with Michelle Hirsch, where we really put our heart and soul into it. And it was a huge commitment. But then, and I'll just say this real quick and then I'll let Ani, but I remember when we were doing your signs and I was the actual sign person. So it was about the right color, where we're gonna place them. And we had a lot of laughs. I will say, and just getting you up and running. And then once that you got your seat, Margaret, you made us all so proud. And I just want to thank you that there wasn't a better person that could take the seat. And then know that all the hard work that we had done with the fellow board members, I think, you know, the focus was there, and Kyrene has a reputation of having a strong board that really does value the community, the students, and, you know, I think as you visit other school districts, Kyrene really rises to the top, and it's because of people like you all that do this work. So thank you so much, and I'm proud to call you my friend.
So I got a phone call from Bernadette. She said, hey, you know, we're always on the lookout for good community members that might be willing to serve. And she said, hey, I got this gal I want you to meet. And I said, okay. And so met her up for, I think, breakfast. I think we had coffee or breakfast, I don't know which. And there are a set of questions that I tend to ask people who are interested in serving at the local level in public policy. And I went through a couple of those questions, and what I look for are people who aren't going to necessarily agree with me, but people who are independent thinkers. There's too often, if people tend to get into groupthink, and that's not healthy, it's never healthy. It's good to have civil debate, and I look for civility as well, because those are qualities that are important in order to be able to make decisions for a community. So Margaret and I talked, Bernadette was there, I think Michelle may have been there too, and Michelle Hirsch. And it was very clear to me really early on in my relationship with Margaret that she was all the things that everybody has articulated so well. But the other thing about Margaret was she was smart. She thought for herself. If something was important, she was willing to take a stand, but do it in a statesmanlike manner. That is rare, and I know you all know that. And you look for that in terms of community members that to support. And it was very clear to me early on that Margaret possessed all those. We didn't have to necessarily agree. For me, it doesn't, obviously there are certain policy issues that are important to me, but more than anything else, I'm looking for someone who will do the research, who will consider different points of view, and who will listen, and be willing to stand strong on what they believe. And Margaret fit that bill. And on top of it, I ended up becoming friends with Margaret, and really have enjoyed and feel blessed to know her as a friend. And so Margaret, I know that this season's ending for you. The next season will be filled with other ways in which you'll serve, whether it's through your children directly, but I know that there will be another season when your children are older that I hope that you'll find yourself serving the community as a whole again, because we need people like you. So thank you for your service. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you, Lonnie. Thank you, Bernadette. At this time, I'd like to call Todd McFarland. Todd McFarland is indicated he's a community member. He lives in Houston.
I thought I'd say a few words here, Margaret. So I've had the great pleasure of coming to almost every meeting, right? I'm a little biased. I got a board member here. I get to call my wife. So I've had the pleasure to watch all of you. Here's what I've been impressed with you. You have a soft voice, but you carry a big stick, right? And so your comments have been very succinct and sort of cut to the heart of what you've tried to do. I also know that Wanda, although she's not able to talk about the matters you guys discuss as part of it, she's sort of like in the CIA when you're board member. She's said a lot of glowing comments about you behind your back. How much she enjoys working with you, right? The rest of you will have to wait until you resign to see whether that's true for you. But she's brought your name up many times on how she's enjoyed her 2 years with it. I've also been here during that pandemic moment, and I don't think there's really anybody here on any school board across the nation that signed up for that. And I saw Grace under fire, and so I can only imagine what I missed those 2 years before Wanda was on the board when things were calm, how special that Grace was. So thank you. You've been impressive, let me say that. And a true kind soul for everybody. And I know when you called Wanda at night sometimes, right, that I go, wow, she's not just going to the meetings, stamping it, and then going on with her life. She's actually taking it home, thinking about it, and caring about it enough to want to discuss it and keep it going, right? Don't know what those conversations may have been, but I was going, wow, she's got a family too, and she still wants to solve the problems that are in front of her. So that I tip my hat to you. You're very special. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. McFarland. I'd like to invite one of our favorite former Kyrene kids, our state senator, Mr. Sean Wilkie.
Thank you. This is my first time speaking at County Board, so thank you. So, hi, Margaret. Margaret and I met 4 years ago. I remember seeing her name a lot before I ever met her. I was running for re-election, knocking on doors, and I kept seeing yard after yard, Margaret Pratt, who is this woman? Despite amount of community support that she had. But in all seriousness, I represent 5 school districts. I work with hundreds of elected officials at the local level and the state level. When I'm asked, who in your mind is a model public servant? Who do you wish we had more of in elected office? And every time I'm asked that question, I say Margaret. Your kindness, your generosity, your selflessness, touring schools with you, having lots of conversations with you about education, your heart and your sincereness shines through. So our district is in a much better place because of your leadership and your hard work. And if we had more Margaret Pratts in the world, our district, our community, our state would be in a much better place. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator Tully. I'd like to invite the president of the Kyrene Education Association, Ms. Kyrene Hernandez, to address the board.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Superintendent, President Walsh, Vice President Pratt, and governing board members. My name is Kyrene Hernandez. I am an academic interventionist in the morning at the Kyrene de las Manitas Innovation Academy. And I serve as your very proud KA president in the afternoons and work with talent management as a teacher ombudsman here at the district office. For my whole presidency, you have been on the board and you have supported KEA and certified staff. I can't tell you how many countless phone calls that we have had, that we have talked, where you have had your heart at the heart of our conversation, wanting to know how staff feels, how our student feels, and you always wanted to do what was the very best for our students. We are we take pride in our KA board contact team, and we have members that are paired up with every board member, and we appreciate that you guys pick up the phone, that you talk to us, that you listen, that we have a question that we can come to you and we can talk to you. So the whole, there's not a lot I can say because everybody has had such wonderful, wonderful things to say about you. You are going to be deeply missed, but we know that you still have Kyrene kids, so you're still going to be connected to Kyrene, and that's the great thing, so that we know that we're going to get to see you so many times. So please keep in touch with us. We are so, so grateful for all that you have done for Kyrene. So thank you so much. Red for a reason.
Yeah.
So board members, as you know, state statute does prohibit us from talking about something that's not on the agenda, but as it is, item 5.2 is on the agenda. So we have an opportunity to address our party and Vice President, Member Pratt here tonight. If anybody would like to make some comments with Margaret. Member Pratt?
Thank you. Margaret, I remember when we were deciding, thinking about that, and we talked and you asked me a lot of questions about what was it like and what was the job. And I remember sort of saying, it is what you make it. And what you made it was so much giving to every school, to this entire community in your 4 years. And I just remember sort of watching you in awe, thinking, she's doing this with 3. Oh, and no, 4 small children. And, you know, juggling all of that, but just managing to really give your heart to Kyrene during this time. I know that if somebody had told you in advance that you would serve during a pandemic, you might have changed your mind. I think any one of us might have changed our mind. But what I so appreciated, especially during that time, but all the time, was your thoughts, your perspective, you know, those late night phone calls about worrying what to do and wanting to make the best decision, always, and always having our children and our staff and our community at the heart of everything. And I remember some pretty tough times that were hard on you, particularly, and hard on all of us. And I remember telling you, we need to get this in. And what I think I see is you do have thick skin because you're strong and you're able to take all of that and handle it with such grace and just always making sure that you're doing what's best. And so I have really appreciated sitting next to you here and serving with you for the last 4 years. And I just thank you for everything that you've done for Kyrene.
Thank you, Member Fay. Member Ray?
I am not a person of many words, but I am so grateful to you for your leadership and your mentorship to me personally, coming onto this board, and just for your friendship. So you changed my life, and you so sweetly and kindly invited me to not the school board. And I think that's something a lot of people can say is, Margaret extended this really nice invitation, and I couldn't say no. But you truly do invite people to be better, and it's never something that's forced. It's always just, and I really, really just love you. So I will be sad to have you go and be the only Margaret left.
Thank you, Member Ray. Dr. Paul-Majak?
Wow, I'm sorry to see you go. My husband stole my thunder like he always does. But you know, I think for me, I think a lot of people when they see Margaret, they see kindness, they see compassion, they see softness, they see vulnerability. I see all those things too, but what I see is strength. I mean, I've said to Todd before, she has a spine of steel. And I think some people may underestimate that. And there's nothing like having a spine of steel. That doesn't mean to say that she's not flexible and able to learn and listen, but she's strong. And I really appreciate strength. I think that in leadership, strength is very important. Obviously, there's a lot of other important traits that people have talked about. She has those too. They don't always go together, you know, and they do with her. It's such an incredible gift to have softness and vulnerability and compassion and strength all rolled up into one dynamic, you know, package. So thank you for serving Kyrene. Thank you for being a mentor to me and making me better. And so I miss you.
Thank you, Dr. Paul-Majak. Margaret, that's a lot to follow. But, every day that I've been on the board, I've been on the board with you, and we got to become really fast friends. And I have to tell you that, of course, this district is the better place for it. Our students are better for it. Our teachers are better for being on this board. I wanted to be the time better because of the impact that you've made, not just on this board, but I think as a person. You kept me sane. Like, we had some very crazy moments. You were a confidant, a friend. We spent a lot of hours talking on the phone together, and a lot of hours doing different things. And there's nobody else I would have had on the board through all that. So thank you so much for all of your service to Kyrene. It is your turn now.
I just don't even feel, it's just so much goodness to take in. I spent some time looking over some of my favorite things that I've read the last 4 years and some of the quotations. One of them is from Mother Teresa. She said, kind words can be short, easy to speak, their echoes are truly endless. And I really am going to take all of the kindness that you shared with me this evening with me. It will echo. And if my daughters ever think I'm not great, I'm going to make them go on YouTube and just a little bit, I attempted to prepare something. Thank you, Kenora and KEA, who had me at your meeting this last week. So good to be here with you. My relationship with KEA, especially my KEA reps, Ms. Snyder, Jason Roman, Justin Jensen, just been a great support to me in my board service. And I said it before, but can't really emphasize enough just how critical the voice of KEA is in making good decisions for the district. And I'm always impressed that you are here, you are engaged, and you're in it for the long haul. You do the hard work, and it's just been an honor to work with you. To know you. I'm gonna miss you. As I thought about my remarks this evening, I was pretty overwhelmed with gratitude and so many memories. I'm going to start with my most important thank you. My husband, Murray. In 2018, after I asked to run for the board, I told you I just wanted to see if I could get enough signatures to get on the ballot. And then a box was delivered with like 20 clipboards, and he knew there was more to it. There was more going on. And for those of you who know my husband, Murray is in many ways my opposite. He's quiet, he's extremely patient, and he's very calm. All of which proved to be very needed when your wife is on a school board. Especially when she's serving on a school board during a worldwide pandemic, and you find out that you're unexpectedly expecting a fourth daughter during said pandemic and fourth service. So, in short, there is a special place in heaven for my husband, and you're the best, Mary. I love you. Thank you to my past board members, Michelle Hirsch, Bernadette Coggins, Alicia Persian. You've been great mentors to me. And I use your sage advice in my everyday life, not just in my service on the board. These women love our community, and they continue to serve and have served long since they left the dais. And thank you for being here this evening, and thank you for helping get me up here, right? And keep me up here. Thank you to my fellow board members, past and present.
We have faced some differences and real difficulties, but we've worked hard to forge professional, respectful relationships. We have found avenues of agreement on behalf of our students and community that we serve. We've governed in an effective manner, and I am so proud of the work that we've accomplished together. And I respect each of you, and it's been an honor to serve with you. And if you ever meet me, you have my phone number. And President Mike Myrick, you just will always remain President Mike Myrick. Thank you for helping onboard me, you know, when I came on and helped teach me how to be a board member. Some may say I'm a bit of a cheerleader for the district, and I can't say that they're wrong. I'm quick to give credit where credit is due, and I enjoy celebrating students' progress, goals met, and good people who are making our community better. In Kyrene, you don't need to look far to see all these things in motion. And this may be why I look forward to and enjoy the superintendent report at our meetings. Dr. Besley and Laura Tenyas are nonstop. These leaders are just as likely to be found at the school site as the district office. They're thoughtful, intentional, and face challenges with enthusiasm and determination. It's been an absolute privilege to work with and learn from incredible superintendents. Dr. Besley, I just want to say thank you for ensuring that I had every tool and opportunity to become the best board member I could. You're a courageous visionary who acts with wisdom and heart, have a relentless drive for change and progress like I've never seen. And I learned the clear is kind from her, both in word and example. I may not have loved the choices I was given as a board member, but I could trust that the processes that were gone through would help guide us to the decision that would most benefit our kids and community. Thank you, Laura, for everything that you did this evening. It means so much to me. And thank you for engaging the board in deep learning and working for meaningful change. Thank you for carrying us out of the pandemic and managing situations with positivity and grace. Thank you for supporting my board service while I had a newborn. After Elizabeth was born, I really wanted to finish my term. And I'm confident that without your support, the support of my fellow board members, it just couldn't have been done. So thank you. I'm so glad that I could do that with your help. And Kyrene is in excellent hands. President Walsh, you know, thank you so much. It is my birthday, and with a December birthday, you know, there's many memorable things. I often had finals on my birthday. I received presents wrapped in holiday gifts, holiday wrap, and birthday parties always ended up becoming a holiday party. But having my milestone 40th birthday land on, when we only have one meeting in December on my birthday, my 40th birthday, it takes me. Pun intended. Oh, yes. I don't want this to be over. I really can't emphatically say enough how much I appreciate each of you being here, taking the time to come up and speak. You all made me better, without a doubt. And I did also just want to say, Senator Bowie, up in your office, which I know you were so sad to take down recently, you had everyone who sees it and been there and seen it, that your heart is in the work and was prominently displayed. And it was so evident in the work that you did tirelessly on behalf of education in our kids. And I learned a great deal from you, for regarding education and what to bring back to help in Kyrene. So I'm so sorry. I just and I don't want to wrap this up, but I'm going to and say that Kyrene has been an absolute honor and privilege to serve